Hey friends, it's Hannah at Lovely Little Lives. Today I'm going to talk to you about overcoming the overwhelm. This is something I struggle with a lot. I get overwhelmed easily, I get stressed out easily. So these are some ways I found that have helped me to feel less overwhelmed. Obviously it's not a perfect system and I still need a lot of practice, but these are 5 different things that I have used to help me overcome the overwhelm. First of all, the secret to overcoming the overwhelm is to choose to not be overwhelmed. That might sound simple and oversimplified, but it's true. Like, you're gonna be overwhelmed, or you're gonna have overwhelming situations in your life, especially I feel like when you're a mom and you're just running in all of different directions. You're trying to take care of multiple kids, or maybe just one child. Sometimes one child is harder to take care of than multiple children. And there's just, things happening, and you have all these responsibilities and places you need to be and people that are needing you to help them, and you're trying to serve your family and take care of everyone, and there's like a mountain of laundry, and there's a never-ending to-do list, and all the things. Like, if you're a mom, there's just all the things that pop up that you didn't even imagine before you had kids that you'd have to deal with. But it's really easy to get overwhelmed, and I found that really the secret to not being overwhelmed is you have to choose not to be overwhelmed, because you're going to be overwhelmed just by the mere situation. Just by existing as a mom, you're going to have things that are going to overwhelm you, and so you have to choose to fight past that and push past that feeling of overwhelm and of being stressed out, and you have to find ways to cope with it, because it's gonna come. Like, you're going to have overwhelming days, you're gonna have bad days, and you have to be able to work past that, and in spite of the overwhelm, choose to push forward and to be joyful, or try to be joyful and to try to be positive despite all the mishaps. And I know this is really hard because it's something I struggle with a lot. So these are the 5 things I came up with that I found have helped me. Just simple strategies you can put in place, and hopefully habits that you can develop, so that when you feel those feelings of anxiety and stress and overwhelmed taking over, that you can do one of these 5 things or all of them and move past it and push past it, so that your day is not completely ruined and you can have a good day even though you started as a bad day. So the first one is talk it through. So when you're really overwhelmed, at least for me, it kind of all builds up, like it just kind of becomes this heavy weight inside, and it just can get worse and worse and worse as the day progresses, and it eventually blows up. Like, you just lose control, because you've just been holding this in for so long, and you're just at your breaking point. So I found that it's helpful to talk it through. It might not be right away, obviously, because sometimes you're by yourself at home with a bunch of kids, but if you can either call someone if you need instant help if you're by yourself, or a lot of times I have talked with my husband when he gets home from work, or like in the evening after everything's settled down and the kids are in bed, to just talk it through and talk about what happened and what triggered my overwhelm and the feelings, because a lot of it is just feelings, that are developing inside of you and that you have to cope with, and just trying to find better ways to cope with those. And sometimes just by talking it through, you can see it in a different way, or maybe the person you're talking to has some insight. I know my husband is always really good about kind of like counseling me through it, and he just always has helpful ideas and just a different perspective of looking at it, and of things I can do better to not be so overwhelmed next time. So that's one option. The other option is to write it out. Sometimes just getting all those feelings out on paper can make a world of difference, instead of just letting it all be bottled up inside of you, and then it often leads to resentment or bitterness or anger, and you're just overwhelmed, and you can't release it. So I found that it helps to, I write, as I have a blog, so I have found it helpful just to write in general. I've always enjoyed writing. That was what I majored in college, it's creative writing. So either just writing it out, like and I've done it as a blog post, to write it out in a way that will be helpful to other people, or to just, write it out in a journal if you want to take it to prayer and write it out like in a prayer journal. Just even scribble things in a notebook or on a piece of paper, or type it on the computer if that's easier. Whatever you need to just kind of let off that steam and just kind of let it all go. And writing, I think, is a way to do that, because we can release it when we write it. So that's another option, is to write it out, talk it through and write it out. The third way to overcome the overwhelm is to read something inspiring, or to listen to something inspiring. I have found that I get so caught up in the overwhelm that I kind of lose sight of everything else, and it just kind of drags you down, and it just is all you can think about, is like how overwhelmed you feel, and when is this going to end, and like when are the kids going to behave, and when is the house going to be clean, and when's dinner going to be done, like it's just a snowball effect. You start worrying about all these things and feeling like you can't ever get anything done, and you're just so overwhelmed, and I just can't do it. So I found that sometimes to step back from that, as hard as it is, to step back from it and to focus your attention on something else, whether it be reading something, or something spiritual, something reflective, a devotional, or listening to a podcast, listening to like an inspiring podcast, or a podcast with a mom who's talking about her struggles, or giving you advice on how to deal with things. Like sometimes that's a huge game changer. Like, you just listen to someone else talk about something, and you're like, oh yeah, like that makes a lot of sense. And like when someone else is telling you through a podcast or an audiobook or whatever that like they struggle with this too, or they struggle with something similar, or just kind of giving you another voice in your head besides your own, like the voice of common sense, the voice of realistic, like this is life, but like here's how we can work through it, that kind of thing. Just getting your mind off the overwhelm by focusing on something inspiring or encouraging, like can be huge, and just bringing you out of that funk. I'll link a few of my favorites, but some of the books that I've found really helpful for this are Resisting Happiness by Matthew Kelly, The Splendor of You by Donna Schlaparese, and then some of the podcasts I really love include Daniel Bean's podcast, Girlfriends, and then The Next Right Thing by Emily P. Freeman is one I've been listening to a lot, and that one's like almost a meditation, because she talks so quietly, and like she just kind of has these very reflective podcasts, and they just kind of help you relax and help you to think about good things, like to think about things other than like the overwhelm that's just surrounding you, of like kids fighting and messes everywhere and so many tasks that are undone, and phone calls and text messages that you have to answer, and all the responsibilities you have. I mean, the list goes on, right? I know, because I work at home. If you don't know, I'm a medical biller at home, so I work from my home computer. I have to get my medical billing stuff done. And then I have 3 kids, so I have a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old currently, and the 2 older ones are in school, so I'm running kids all over the place. They're also in like extra activities, extracurriculars, so we were in ballet for a while, and now my oldest is in basketball, and then she'll be in soccer in the spring. So like it's always something, right? And not only that, it's like I have to take care of the house. I have to, get dinner started or made, at least started. A lot of times my husband helps with dinner, but get dinner figured out. I have to get laundry done. I have to take care of all 3 of the kids. And then, there's other things, like I'm in a mom's group, so I'm part of the leadership team for that. So I'm helping with the mom's group and answering emails about that, and trying to get together with people and see friends and answer text messages and FaceTime with my parents, and there's so many things that happen sometimes in a day, and it can be overwhelming, especially when like you have so many things to do and you just can't get any of them done. So that's where the next step comes up: systems. Having some systems in place for your home and for your homemaking tasks to help you get things done. Or to get the essential things done. I have started using meal planning. So I have a printable that I actually created that I use to put on my fridge and plan out my meals for the week. So that's been a huge step. That's like less overwhelming, like, because I have a plan and it's right there on the fridge and I know what we're having for dinner all these nights, and I know what I need to go to the grocery store and get for the ingredients to have all these dinners. You know, I have the recipes kind of all figured out. So that has been a huge part in helping me overcome overwhelm. Also, to-do lists. If you have just a bunch of stuff you have to do, it's just really helpful to have it all written out, and then as you do it, you can check it off and have the satisfaction of checking it off, and hopefully you can get a lot done that way, because you see, like, okay, I have, you know, there's 7 days in a week and I have all these different things I want to get done on these certain days, and they can just be basic tasks like doing laundry and like emptying the dishwasher and even like taking a shower. You know, like, you can put them all on the list and then you can check them off as you do them, and have that satisfaction of, like, I actually did something today. Look at all these things I checked off on my list, and like, I have all these things that I did, even if they're small, like, they're tasks that I completed successfully. So that's another way, another system to put into place. And then also just, I'll talk more about this in future videos and posts, but just becoming more organized. You know, like, you can save yourself a lot of time and heartache and frustration if you can put systems in place to keep things in order and to keep things where you know where they're at, like keep things in the same place all the time, keep your purse in the same place, keep your keys and phone in the same place, you know, all the different items, kids' backpacks, kids' shoes, like putting all those things in the same place every day so you know where they are, and so you're not overwhelmed looking for all the different things. You know, this could be a big deal too with like things like bills, things like papers you have to file or return to school, or, you know, whatever it is, just having things organized in a place where you can find them, and so that you don't have to be overwhelmed by, I have all this stuff and I don't know where anything is. So that's a huge thing too, and I'll talk more about that in other videos. But for now, just thinking of a few simple systems that you can put into place to make your family life less stressful. Even things like, you know, bedtime routines, like honing in on your bedtime routine or your morning routine, and just creating a system that will help you to do it better, you know. And I mean, that's going to look different for every family, but like I said, I use meal planning and to-do list as my two main ones, and that has made a big difference in our family organization and feeling less overwhelmed. The last one that I have on here to overcoming the overwhelm is to take a break. That's kind of huge, you know, that kind of goes along with the reading something inspirational, but just finding some simple ways that when you're just feeling really overwhelmed, when you're just feeling like you can't do this anymore, just finding some simple ways to take a break. That could be going outside, it could be taking a walk, it could be reading a chapter of your favorite book, or like a novel that you're reading, pleasure reading, something that you enjoy reading, just really, you know, just for a few minutes. It could be calling someone, it could be, you know, leaving the house for a while. Sometimes that makes a big difference, just leaving the house. I know I've found that I've become less overwhelmed since we've started school, because now every day we're leaving the house and we're not just kind of stuck at home in the overwhelm of home, which can sometimes be kind of overwhelming to just be at home and have all these things and kids fighting and babies crying and feel like you're all alone and you're just at home. And you can't escape. So leaving the house is a big deal. Joining a mom's group or Bible study, or even just, you know, having play dates, right? Starting to schedule regular play dates with different friends so that you get out of the house, or you have another mom come to your house and, you know, talk to you and can share your motherhood struggles and joys together for an hour while the kids play, and just have that adult conversation where you feel like, oh yeah, like other people are struggling too, and it's hard for other people, and yet like we're all in this together and we can all support each other and help each other. So just thinking of a few simple ways that you can get a break for yourself, things that will help you reset and recharge, the things that inspire you or energize you, whatever that may be, to just make time for those when you need a break. So those are my my 5 tips to help you to choose to overcome the overwhelm, because again, it's a choice and we have to choose it. And if we don't choose it, we choose to be overwhelmed and stressed and let that overwhelm take over our day and our lives, and it's not any fun. It doesn't feel very good, and we just are not very happy when that happens. So you can have a lot of overwhelming things happening and a lot of overwhelming situations, but you can choose to not be overwhelmed. You can choose to do these 5 things or other things that you can think of that maybe help you more, but these are my 5 things to help you to choose to not be overwhelmed. Talk it through, write it out, read something inspiring, put simple homemaking systems in place, and take a break. 5 ways to be a better mom and to be less overwhelmed so that you can enjoy your kids and savor your life more. So thanks for watching, and I hope that was helpful to you, and hope you're having a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.